It's Tuesday, so you guys know what the vibe is. Whether I'm in California, Jay's in Jersey, it don't matter. We're collabing every Tuesday, given unforeseen circumstances. But until then, we're here. We're back. You guys are already getting lit in the chat here. I see some saying pay Deebo, some saying trade him. 2 1s or no deal. Peyton saying what's good, Jason. Hey, it's an interesting topic. Deebo Samuel, like this topic has just Jimmy Garoppolo. Who's that? Who's like Aaron Donald's completely? Who's that? Like that's where we are with this Deebo Samuel talk because frankly, I don't care what anybody says. This Deebo Samuel situation is more important than the Jimmy Garoppolo situation. Do you agree or disagree with that?
For sure, it would be Deebo Samuel and Nick Bosa in whatever order that you could put it, because those are the two guys that need to be extended. So yeah, I mean, and I will say that is a nice fringe benefit of the whole Deebo Samuel thing is we get a reprieve from having to speak about the quarterback, which I love. I even if I do find this exercise a bit tedious, and we'll talk through like what's going on, and there's the word that I'm using is concerned but not panicked, and I'll explain all that in a bit though. But happy to be here, Leo. Remember, you guys are on both of our channels. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, join the Spicy Squad on my page so you can be a part of the call-in shows, which we're probably going to do on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, let's get it, though, Leo.
So, if we see those Spicy Squad comments coming in on Jason's channel, we're going to prioritize those. Like, they're the guys, that are, putting the channel foot forward. So we got one here from Swan Song. If Deebo and the 49ers can't meet eye to eye, would 10 and 38 from the Jets make it feel better? No.
4 and 10.
No. It's just like, yeah, that's a great deal, but 38, I consider it a late one. We could do that.
4 and 10.
That's
4 and 10.
That's basically the sixth pick in the second round. That's a late one. But this is why I say no, is because there's no replacing Deebo Samuel. Since Deebo Samuel's rookie year, teams have been looking for a Deebo Samuel. And guess what? No one has found it. Cordell Patterson is the closest version to him, and he is the great value Walmart version of Deebo Samuel. He's not Deebo Samuel, despite he did have a good year. I'll keep it 100 with it. Other than that, what did you have? Percy Harvin, like he had a good year, but he didn't have a Deebo year. And that one good year by Percy Harvin in Minnesota, they were talking about MVP type of year he had. And he still statistically did not have the season of Deebo Samuel. This guy is one of one. And in no way I'm trading a 10 and a 38 overall pick in the draft. And keep in mind, a draft that's heavier in round 2, 3, and 4 than the first round for a Deebo Samuel. At least not in this draft class. No way. No thank you.
4 and 10. You draft Sauce, and then you draft Jameson Williams or something like that. Like that's the only way I could do it. They give us 4 and 10.
Saucy, huh?
Get Sauce, and you get a high end receiver like Jameson Williams or Garrett Wilson or something like that. I'll maybe, but no. Come on. No. So the thing is too is there's been this whole talk, and you've heard me over multiple streams, and I'm gonna keep preaching the same thing. There's concern only because of the DeForest Buckner situation. And I think there's something else that really has 49ers fans on edge that Leo's going to lead us into for the next topic. But I think everything, the anxiety that you're feeling right now, 49er fans, which, again, it's concerned because this is a negotiation process. Obviously, it hasn't jumped off well. That's why Deebo Samuel's doing what he's doing. But it doesn't mean doom and gloom, and it doesn't mean that anybody's going to get signed right now in April. So we're going to find out pretty quickly with the draft coming up. If there's no trade by the draft, then there's not going to be a trade, because why would you trade Deebo Samuel for something that's not in the draft at this point, if you were to do something like that? So, like, again, just a little bit more patience. I think everything's going to be fine. But in terms of what's the anxiety you people are feeling, I think that it has a lot to do with that clip, that podcast clip that's floating out there, or just that article that was written by Mayoko, right?
Absolutely. We have another donation here from Smack Jones 919. Appreciate you as always. You always keep it live in the chat. I see your name and face every time Jason and I go live, so appreciate that. Much love on our end. he says, "Pay this man. We have more drama than the Cowboys." Facts every year. Like, as you say, Jason, the content provides itself. Like, literally a reality show with this franchise. Every in season, off season, it's a reality show. With this situation. And you talked about the podcast that's floating around. Javi was the one who I believe clipped that. Javi Vega, Fourth and Goal podcast. I do podcasts with him, Niners Nation. And with that podcast, it's basically stating Little Baby, because Little Baby is close with who's the one running that podcast once again?
It's Matt Mayoko. Oh, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Rap podcast.
Oh, you're talking about Joe
Mayoko.
Budden. No. You talking about Joe Budden podcast where they're talking about Little Baby and Deebo?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're basically Little Baby drop some new songs, and those lyrics are eerily closeable to Deebo Samuel's situation. And everybody knows like Deebo and Little Baby are pretty close. And Joe Budden just unsolicited saying, "Hey, Deebo Samuel brought up that whole situation. You got two quarterbacks there. I gave it all for you this past season. Now it's time for you to take care of me." I believe there was a lyric in that song talking about $100 million deal. With these rappers, they can talk for these football players and how they feel. When you're at that level, you're always talking about getting a bag and, bag this, bag that. And there was another rapper out there that tagged Deebo in a photo saying, if it's not 25 mil, I don't want it. So you kind of have these hip hop music influencers basically stating like, hey, Deebo wants his money. Pay this man. Does that make the situation more tough for the 49ers? Or is it just kind of, another day at work and another day in this situation?
Yeah, and I think again, what we're figuring out now is that this is a new age in which negotiations and large power plays are done through social media. Let me explain. Obviously, what's going on has drawn eyes to Deebo Samuel's Instagram. Did he ever follow them? Did he not? All those pictures are gone, whatever it is. And now the things that you're alluding to, Deebo's playing this out very much in public. Now, whether that's his agent that's asking, that team, that sort of thing, right? Let me ask you about another situation. Did Odell Beckham come out and say that he wanted to be traded? No. His father goes on social media, posts all the highlights of him being out there, and basically puts in the trade request at that point. And that's kind of where things go at this point in the way that these youngsters are using social media. So he is sending messages to them. They're, subs, whatever it is. And of course, less than it is just them negotiating, more it is just keeping his name out there, keeping the pressure on the team and things like that. So this is just how negotiations happen. Social media is such a big part of it, and Deebo's using it right now to all of his advantage if he can at this point, on April 12th. So I mean, it's just the way things are at this point.
So who has the leverage in this situation, as commented by SoCal Niner fan?
I think the 49ers do. He can't hold out. The rules specifically state that he can't hold out. And remember, there was that rule where I think owners, if they wanted to, they could wipe the fines away if they did. I don't think that the NFL allows that anymore to stop these sort of same situations. So, I mean, unless Deebo's ready to just get fined and then make this a bigger thing, I don't see that happening. And if he really wanted to, I mean, I still believe this gets done. I just don't think that it's going to go that direction of him holding out. So it's not that anybody has leverage. It's just that it's early right now, and that's it. And the same sort of thing happened. George Kittle's agent alluded to the first offer from the 49ers during their process as the same Valentine's Day massacre, meaning it was that bad. He was that offended. They were able to repair that. But again, in the back of 49ers fans' mind is DeForest Buckner. And that's really where the scare comes from. And then Mayoko comes out and says he rehashes something that was said a year ago from Kyle Shanahan in his podcast, and that is the reason that really now 49er fans' ears are up, because that wasn't for no reason, and it may not be a direct mouthpiece thing, but the timing feels strange, right? Like right now. So again, They have their ways of negotiating. The 49ers have always kind of done it this way. This is how Deebo Samuel's negotiating. We are just watching it kind of play out, at least that portion, play out in public.
Yeah, see, it's just how much stock do you put into that anyway, saying everybody's available on this roster? Like, how much stock do you really put into that? Like, yeah Deebo Samuel's available, but run me 3 1s. Like,
right. It was a year ago. And for the right price, that means everybody on the team. And I'm not looking as far. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm misdiagnosing the situation because I don't really feel as panicked as many people do. And obviously, if Deebo Samuel does get traded, for some reason, okay, like we just really have to sit and analyze it because we don't have any say over it. Like at that point too. So like right now, it's just I think it's gonna be fine. I just think that when you look at previous history, the only thing that really is scary is Buckner. But Trent Williams at the last minute, he was a full free agent. Kittle got done. They did Warner.
Let's walk through that. So Buckner was gone. All right. Other, I would say, cornerstone players. George Kittle, done deal. Trent Williams, done deal. I'll throw in Kyle Juszczyk the way this offense is ran. Done deal. Jimmy Garoppolo at the time was a cornerstone player, 5-0, and definitely provided a spark within this offense. Done deal. We got 4 guys there. Who else? Eric Armstead? Because, if you weren't keeping Buckner, you were keeping Armstead. Those 2 guys were considered cornerstone players of this franchise. Boom, 5 players. Fred Warner. Boom, 6 players. How many more? Who am I missing? Jimmy Ward. Boom, 7 players now. Like, that's 7 players. So you add Buckner, that's a total of 8 players. 1 out of 8 chance that situation happened. And the reason that happened is because you had Eric Armstead in that situation that was cheaper, and he also provided positional flexibility within this franchise. He was able to play the 3 tech. He was able to play on the edge. Basically, what need was deemed fit. Obviously, I'm not saying Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner are a wash. They're not. Give me DeForest Buckner. But I'm talking about in a structural way with this franchise, based off the cap, based off of scheme. They deemed, let's go with the cheaper option to keep Armstead and keep our cornerstone safety in Jimmy Ward. That's what they decided to do. Now, 1 out of 8 is like 12.5%, quick math, 12.5%. And that's just limited data. We're only going off of 8 situations with this franchise. So the percentage of trading a cornerstone player like Deebo Samuel could even be less than that 12.5% that they traded DeForest Buckner. I'm not worried about this situation at the right price. Hell, my wife will trade me at the right price as well. Let's keep it a buck. It's probably not going to be as expensive as Deebo. If I'm being honest, I'm not worth as much as Deebo. But she will also trade me for the right price.
I think what you should do, if you want to prove a point to her, I think you should archive all the photos of you and her off of your and unfollow her.
I should.
That'll raise your value in negotiation and give you the leverage, right?
Yeah. Like, let's keep it a buck. How many friends have we had, male or female? You click on their profile. Next, like the pictures with their significant other is gone. Are they broken up? No. But did they delete those photos? Like, yes.
But does somebody slide the DM and say, "Hey, I'm here for you to talk"? I noticed.
That's you.
I noticed. No, well, that's not me. That's other teams. That's other teams, right? Hey, notice that you're not following. Yeah,
Mike
notice you're not following. Yeah, exactly. So
Hey, I had a question on that.
Game.
Like, is that not considered tampering, or
I don't know. I think
was that before the leak New Year or after?
After.
That's interesting.
It'll be all right. I'm not too worried about that. What I want to say about this too, and at the right price, is a lot of people's contention point about how much he should be making, how much is all of how much this player got this much, this player that got this much. Okay, but when you really break down these contracts, a lot of these guys aren't getting as much as you think, and these numbers are all they're all kind of after 2 years fake in a way where there's things that you have to hit and things that you can move around. It's just. Right now, those numbers are super inflated. Like, for instance, Von Miller gets signed, everybody loses their mind. Really, it's like a 2-year deal, those type of things. So it's less about how much annual money he's going to make. The guaranteed money is what he's obviously worried about. And it's more about the cap hit. So if the cap hit's low and they can still find a way to maneuver that money around and give him whatever it is that he wants in his first year, 2 years, or maybe like reduce the cap hit down the line, or maybe kick it down the line. Either way, those are the ways that these contracts are going to get signed. So again, it's like 25 million. What is it? 27, whatever, like, Hill got this, Diggs got this, Adams got this. All of those things are worded and they're written in different ways for it to look one way with a whole lot of ways out on both sides is I guess the best way to put it.
I feel you. Should we talk about Mayoko?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, go for it. That's what I mean. Look, that's what I thought we were going to talk about. You were talking about Joe Budden. That's cool. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to talk about this because Mayoko's a great writer, man. He's the guy who's done this the longest, man. Have a lot of respect for him. So for him to say and rehash this thing, yes, you can look at it two ways. You can look at it and say, hey, that's a quote from Kyle from a year ago, and it was, and it still stands today. There's nothing crazy about what he said. He wasn't really delivering some earth-shattering news at this point, right? Like, that's something we all knew. And it's something that Kyle says with one of his, I guess it's like connecting phrases. It is what it is, or we have a lot of faith, or like it's one of those things where that kind of comes out and that's just what he says. I think it's the timing is the part that's got everybody a little frazzled in terms of why would you say this now while all of these things are still out in the air? And are you damage control? Are you putting out damage control or to like set the mood, like so people could know? So I think that's what people are more worried about when you're talking about what Mayoko said. For me, it felt like a reiteration of something that we already knew, but I could see how people could take it that way.
Yeah, it's just I see this tweet here and it's just weird. Let me see if I can share my screen. Like, the context in this is just insane. Because it's not true at all. Let's see here. So, breaking in reference to the availability of wide receiver Deebo Samuel, Matt Mayoko says 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan will listen to anyone that wants to talk trade. They're willing to trade anyone at the right price. Like, Cat. I shared my screen. That's not true. Don't believe everything you see on Twitter from these NFL handles, because he said that last year, as Jason alluded to, and that was in context of Jimmy Garoppolo. Kyle Shanahan did not say that this year, and he did not say that in regards to Deebo Samuel's availability. I don't think, personally, I just gut feeling I don't think he's going anywhere. I would have said the same thing about DeForest Buckner. But this is something I still hold a lot stronger to, because Mayoko said Deebo Samuel is pretty much a fragment of Shanahan's scheme. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's really so. It could sound like that.
And Mayoko said Deebo Samuel is not in the same class as Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams. I heard that part. Mayoko said that as well.
He said in terms of route running, all of those things. Listen,
come on, man. Okay. You talk about it so many times, Jay. There's different ways to skin a cat. There's different ways to play a receiver.
There are. No. Listen, hey, look. I think that what was said was something that a lot of people feel. But I will say this: the Kyle Shanahan scheming things up for Deebo thing is overblown. Let me explain. How many times has this man just caught a pass and run through everyone? It's not scheme.
No.
I would argue that Kyle gets George Kittle open with scheme more than he does Deebo Samuel, in my opinion. I mean, and nothing against Kittle, because I believe that his route running doesn't get talked enough about because he's so good as a blocker. They say, oh, he's okay as a route runner. No, he's a very good route runner. But I feel Kyle does more for him and opens things up for him than he does Deebo. When Deebo has the ball in his hands, it doesn't matter. You're telling me that I understand the offense would nowhere be as efficient. It's a perfect marriage between Kyle and Deebo. Perfect marriage. Perfect system with a guy who does exactly what you need and what any team would need. He would go to another team, be utilized similarly, And his numbers would take a dip. The efficiency would go down, but he would still be that dominant football player that you saw. Maybe just not to the tune of those numbers because the 49ers have such a good scheme. They do have such good personnel, and they have guys that do their job. But at the same time, it's a little bit overblown in my opinion because I've been seeing too much of, well, Kyle's propping him up. And it's like, man, I feel like a lot of people are just trying to give themselves justify a way for them to trade Deebo in their mind. Like they're kind of already psyching themselves out. So if something like that does happen, they can point to and say, well, Kyle was holding them up anyway. We'll just get another. I don't believe that at all. I think Deebo is special. And like Leo said, everybody's been trying to catch a Deebo Samuel in the draft and they still haven't. So yeah, I don't know. That's the part that's a little overblown. The whole Kyle carried him thing, or like it's getting too far. I'm not saying Mayoko said that. I'm saying I've seen the chatter online.
So let me ask you this: you were there in Chicago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Chicago game this past year, Justin Fields against Jimmy Garoppolo, 49ers out. It's pretty much their turnaround into a playoff season.
Mm-hmm.
49ers offense was pretty stagnant, but then a third and forever. What happened?
Deebo Samuel saved the 49ers season, in my opinion. Also, Trey Lance was warming up on the sideline.
Yeah.
He saved Jimmy Garoppolo's start.
What was that play? When did Deebo Samuel save the season? What was that play? Remind all of us.
It was a screen. It was a screen. 3rd and 24. It was a tunnel screen, and that was it. Ball in his hand. And that play is just designed to give you a few yards so you can punt better. It's not designed to take it to the house.
So, what the hell does that have to do with Shanahan's screen? It's a scheme. Excuse me. It's a tunnel screen that he took 80 yards.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Deebo's a fragment of Shanahan's scheme. Or what? Oh, okay. I'm chill now. I got that out the way. What about NFC Championship game, though? 49ers had no points. They had no points. Finally looked like they were building something. And what did Deebo do again? Remind me.
He just
took another what?
To the house.
Okay. So
I would argue.
What does that have to do with Shanahan's scheme and getting him open as a route runner? It's a screen. Any OC could call a screen. Any OC can. I'm not saying that's a bad take on Shanahan's play call. No. You have that player in Deebo, you call screens. But to cap and say his route running, Shanahan gets him open. Shanahan's just calling a screen, and this guy's housing him, or damn near housing them. Deebo's that dude. What other receivers is doing that in the league? And when I say he is up there with these guys, he is up there with the Cooper Kupp, he is up there with the Devontae Adams, he's up there with the Tyreek Hill, and then you got Deebo Samuel. When you look at a deck of cards, there's 4 different aces in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's okay to have 4 different aces as wide receivers. So you got Cooper Kupp. His play style is not near Devontae. It's not near Tyreek, and it's not near Deebo. Cooper Kupp is a zone style wide receiver. Is he now a less of a wide receiver because of their head coach calling the plays over there? No, hell no, he's not. What about Tyreek Hill? Is he less of a wide receiver because Mahomes could throw it down 80 yards down the field and he has Andy Reid calling plays? No. And once again, Tyreek Hill's a different receiver than Devontae, than Cooper Kupp, than Deebo. And finally, Devontae. Is he less of a receiver because of his head coach and his quarterback? No, he's not. Once again, he's a different receiver than Kupp, than Hill, than Deebo. And then you got Deebo. What do you mean he's not an ace, that he's not up there with this guy? The best corner in the league, Jalen Ramsey, that faces Deebo twice a year, called him 1B. And I believe 1A was his own teammate, Cooper Kupp.
No, he had him over Kupp.
That's right. Who was 1A then?
I can't remember, but I know he was ahead of Kupp.
That's right. So with these guys, Deebo's up there. Deebo's one of the best in the leagues. We could talk about it was one season, blah, 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 blah. Man, the impact on that 2019 team as a rookie, it was huge. Chiefs couldn't figure out an answer in the Super Bowl. Chiefs had no idea how to stop him in the Super Bowl. And yet later on into the game, I don't think Deebo got one target in that fourth quarter, similar to like the last 11 minutes of the NFC Championship game. Yet Deebo's not getting these targets, and Shanahan's the reason why he's having so much success in the NFL. I love Kyle Shanahan as much as the next guy, but I am not going to die on the hill saying Kyle Shanahan made Deebo Samuel. No way, no how. Not doing it.
And I don't think that a lot of people are saying it. I'm just seeing the chatter grow. That's all. Like, a lot of people aren't saying
Yeah,
that.
the chatter's there. The chatter's there.
Yeah,
especially
there.
the one-year wonder type of chatter's there too, which is completely ridiculous.
Again, I think those people are trying to talk themselves into something because they're afraid of a deal. And of all those plays you mentioned, because you talked about the NFC Championship, you talked about so many of these big plays. I feel like the biggest play for me for Deebo is one people are just gonna like not forget, but it's not as flashy as a touchdown. But it was that third down run against Green Bay that set up the field goal. I mean, like the balls to put it in his hands on a 3rd and 9 and run from Kyle Shanahan right there, man, and he get it done. And he was so banged up that game. For me, that was the moment. I mean, that's how the 49ers made it into the NFC Championship, man. That's the moment that I really remember that sticks out the most for some reason amongst all the other things that he did in the season.
I'm always going to be team pay that man Deebo Samuel. Reason being is, yes, 49ers, you have the leverage to not pay him this offseason because you could just let him play out his rookie contract and then just hit him with the franchise tag next year. And the way these contracts are in the NFL, especially the franchise tags, Deebo is going to lose a hell of a lot of money not playing on that franchise tag. But personally, I think it's bad business if you do that. And the reason why you pay him this year is because you have A.J. Brown, who's a free agent next year. He's going to require a lot of money to get done. You have DK Metcalf, who's a free agent. He's going to require a lot of money to get done. So we're talking about, according to the rapper that tagged Deebo Samuel, if it's not 25 mil, I don't want it. If that's a price.
That's
25 mil. Like, what is it going to be next year? Like, what happens if Deebo has this season again?
Well, here's the other interesting part. All 3 of those wide receivers were drafted in the same draft class and have the same agent.
That's weird. That's suspicious.
Maybe we see some stuff move after one deal goes up. Maybe you see some things move when one of those guys goes up. But yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. Found that out today.
Yeah, I did not know that. So now that's a little nugget that I have, a golden nugget that
Come on, man. No.
It's a 49er show, man.
I know, man. It was right there. I got it.
Do you have any last?
Fan? Sorry. What? We're not baseball? Come on. Dude, I need the... I'm sorry, it's a football podcast.
Who do you need to win? What? Jason's got a parlay today.
Yeah, I need the Rangers. I got everybody else.
You put money on the Rangers?
No, it's a parlay. I got the Braves. The Angels. They're both winning. The Cardinals are winning. And I just need the Rangers to win. That's it.
That's what I'm saying. You put money on the Rangers.
Yeah, because you can't just take all favorites. Like, you got to spread it out. You're talking about
you're talking about the Texas Rangers, right?
They're playing the Colorado Rockies.
Man, Colorado just took the Dodgers opening series.
So what? It's early. Rangers are right there. It's 2-1. Anyway.
Yes. Same thing could be said with the Yankees and Red Sox. So I get what you're saying.
Exactly. And now look at them. Oh, well, they're winning today. Oh, okay. I love baseball. All right. Enough.
No, I'm not a Padres fan for the record. Do I write about the Padres? Do I cover the Padres? Yes, that's more so because of the location based on the amount of games. Football.
Sounds like Cap.
Football, you don't have to live in the area code.
That's Cap.
Baseball, you kind of do to cover the team.
Yeah, that's different.
So many games going on. So many, just all over the place. On the walls, on the floor, on the ceiling. So much going on.
Do you want to talk about the impact free agents that the 49ers have signed?
Charvarius Ward?
No. Malik Turner, Marcus Johnson.
I like Malik Turner.
I'm sorry. No, I do too.
I
I
like
do
him for
too.
like a fifth, sixth receiver,
Yeah,
which
he
I
has a
think
chance
that's
to
what
make
I think that's what he would be if he makes the roster.
he has a chance to make the team because he has that versatility in the yards after the catch game and the punting and kicking game. Okay, can we talk about something else? This is it. We'll end the show off this topic because so we can get off of the Deebo stuff because I feel like we've done enough. We've done a good job. 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
What's up with Mike McGlinchey, Leo?
As for 49ers, they took out the transcripts, as we alluded to plenty of times. What's going on
No,
with
I
them?
mean, all right.
Hey,
So
hey,
there's a picture floating around.
yes. Let me grab it, and then I'll share my screen
Yeah.
again. You continue talking while I grab it.
Yeah, so there's a picture floating around that has Mike looking kind of slim for an offensive lineman. I'll say it's April, and those guys can put on weight pretty fast, so that didn't really have me as worried as it did many people. Leo's gonna pull up the picture now so everybody can see it, but I think I'm a little bit more nervous about his recovery from the injury than I am the how skinny he looks. Just because the 49ers have been very, very quiet in every way, right? Like there's nobody really giving any updates. They don't really want to offer up any information about him, anything like that. It's like, what is going on behind the scenes? Like, is he okay? Is he, like, you can come out and say he's doing fine. I mean, I don't really care how skinny he looks. He's probably going to put on weight right before camp. And he can do that pretty quickly. He needs to put on more weight, I think, but, clearly, but 10 to 15 pounds, he can do it pretty quickly. Leo's about to pull it up now. So, yep, he looks that skinny. He's in between both. Can't even see him really. There you go. Doesn't look like a lineman to me.
Let me see if I can.
So,
Trying to see if I can make it, but then it always just comes right back. But look at that.
yeah.
Obviously you don't see his head, but we all know that's Mike McGlinchey. Retired Joe Staley? Is that you?
Wow. Yeah.
Is that Joe Staley? Retired?
I don't know, man.
I don't know if that's somebody that's look. I'm not, for the record, I'm not body shaming Mike McGlinchey at all. I wish I could slim down like that as well. Had way too many IPAs over the past couple of years. I'm a dad of 2, and now my body looks like it's screaming that's a dad of 2. But the thing is, his profession, you need that weight to go ahead and help you anchor these defensive linemen that some are going to power rush you, some are going to speed rush you, and even the speed rushers are strong as hell too. Like they're not all just finesse. And I brought up the topic a couple months ago, probably when the offseason started, was about Mike McGlinchey and the future of his team. A lot of people took it as or at least thought I was saying Mike McGlinchey is not a good player. No, I believe he's a good player. I think he excels a lot in run, opening up the running lanes and all that stuff. I think he is a way better player than Tom Compton, and we could talk about Mike McGlinchey's pass blocking, but holy hell, did we see Tom Compton in the playoffs? Got ate up by the Cowboys, got ate up by the Packers, got ate up by the Rams. He was just a guy out there on the field in the playoffs. Like, I don't want to hear how decent he was at pass blocking in the regular season. Those last 3 games mattered way more than any of the other regular season games that he looked decent in.
Yeah, and
I haven't seen that from McGlinchey in any of the playoff games that he went through in his rookie year to look that bad. Did he get beat in the playoffs? Sure. But like Compton was just getting beat like left and right continuously, and Jimmy had to get that ball out quick.
Right.
Yeah. So, my lastly, I'm gonna finish this up here. I was never talking about Mike McGlinchey not being. No, I was just stating his future of the team, given his injury and given his style of play, being athletic, right tackle, getting out there, and for these zone run blocking schemes. With his injury, how effective is he going to be that now? With the new contract, how much is he going to be worth? And year 2 of that contract, he's already going to be 30. So I had my questions with him being part of this team's future. People thought I was crazy for it, and it seems like it's kind of coming full circle. That's not a victory dance. I want this guy to be the starting right tackle because I don't know what other options out there right now.
Yeah. And, to piggyback off of a thing that, everybody in here knows that's watching is how the tackles are so important to this scheme. And I've got some stats to kind of illustrate that if you guys didn't understand. So, obviously, left tackle is the best in the world. The 49ers rushed the ball 75 times to the left end, and that's ranked 4th in the league. They averaged a clip, 6.07, which is 10th in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when they ran to the left tackle, which is still towards Trent Williams, obviously, 45 times, which is 19th in the league, but they ran at 5.56, which was 3rd in the league at that position. So now when you flip it, and this has a lot to do with Tom Compton as well too, but I think it just illustrates how much the right tackle is important, and this is something that can't be overlooked or also just brushed aside as, oh, he'll be fine. When the 49ers ran towards right tackle, they ran it 39 times. That's 23rd at the position, but they ran it at 4.41 a clip for 14th in the league. And at right end, when they ran it around outside, 73 plays, 3rd in the league, 5.48 a clip, and 16th in the league. So if you notice, the 49ers ran much more up the middle, which is 169 times. But the 4 positions that you got the most production per rush was left end, left tackle, right end. And that is something that is obvious when you think about the scheme. But when you really look at those stats, it illustrates how much those are important, and you really need to have those anchors on both those sides in terms of the run game.
So do the 49ers, are they in a tight grip to draft a tackle at 61, given this situation?
That was what I asked. That's why I asked that. You just can't tell me that he's fine and he's attacking things. That doesn't mean anything. Like no one's saying anything after that either. No one's asking the question. No one's following up and saying that he's doing well, right? Like we've got reports of Kinlaw being in the best shape of his life. Yes. Everything's going good. I see him.
Shout out
but
Brad
there's
Graham.
Nothing.
Yep.
Right. There's nothing about Mike. Nothing, man. So look, I don't want it to be something like this. It's just something that is much more disturbing right now than what's going on with Deebo, because I think Deebo is going to be fine. Like I think that gets done. But without the proper right tackle, because you don't even have Tom Compton to fall back on. And please don't tell me that if you think Jalen Moore is going to be good, that's one thing. But you can't say for sure that Jalen Moore is going to be good. And you can just move him right over there, or McKivitz or something like that over long periods of time. So I'm much more worried about this than I am Deebo Samuel's extension or Nick Bosa's extension at this point.
In my opinion, I feel like it's terrible to go out there with the year 1 starter and have nobody, have a guy that should not be starting at right tackle for how many weeks at that point. Because this injury with McGlinchey, I believe only, 50% of the players took another snap in the NFL.
It was 50-50. And meaning taking a snap doesn't necessarily mean that you go right back to the spot that you were at too athletically. So that's another thing is, does Mike come back and he plays, but Mike can't fulfill the duties in the run game that he did? And we already know about sometimes, again, I'm not as down on him in pass block because I feel like they happen at big moments and people amplify those things. But that was not a strength of his game, and that's not why he was brought here. Like, if we can just keep it a buck, at least when it comes to that.
This is my opinion. It looks like they're going to settle in the draft at addressing that right tackle position. Things could change come, I believe it's post June, where some of these other guys could get cut, depending what their team did in the draft and so forth. I'm tired of this team drafting tackles to play guard and drafting guards to play tackle.
Or guards to play center.
If we're taking someone to start at right tackle at 61, then let that be a right tackle, please.
They tried that with Mike.
Let that be a right tackle, please.
They tried to do that with Mike, man.
Man, remember when Mike McGlinchey was drafted and people thought he was like Joe Staley's replacement?
Yeah, no. Or we could just move him over to left tackle.
Yeah. I was mad about that, by the way. I was like, yo, we have this high pick and we just traded Trent Brown for peanuts for Mike McGlinchey. Like, a lot of people forget. We had Trent Brown. Yeah. Trent Brown was good with the 49ers. Like, shocking 7th round pick out of Florida. Like, big dude. He was good. like hindsight 2020, I think trading him was the right move because of like look at the contract he got and all the things moving forward. I just wish they would have got more out of him. Like you gave up a starting right tackle for what? Not much. Not much. Should have at least got a second for him. But that's Bill Belichick. He's gonna end up in the right side of the deal more often than not. I could say he probably the only player that he gave up that didn't like come back to him and actually excelled at a Pro Bowl level, Chandler Jones.
Right. And bad luck all around for highly touted linemen, right? You know, what's Anthony Davis up to these days?
Oh, gee. Is he going to make another comeback?
Another comeback? Breaking news? Sources. Let me take a look at my phone.
Sauces. Sauces say.
And punched it in. It's like cat.
I didn't say nothing about him coming back.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis. It's kind of similar to the Anthony Davis with the Lakers. Can't really, get on the court. Okay, my bad.
What's up with Luka? All right, sorry. No. All right.
Oh man, you got to go there. We talking calf strains now. We talking calf strains.
Just wanted to ask.
I had hopes for Luka to do something in the playoffs, and it looks like he's gonna do maybe a first round exit. It's like calf strain against a highly motivated Donovan Mitchell. Like the dude's name is Spida for a reason. That dude just goes insane in the playoffs. Granted, the Jazz hasn't really done anything in the playoffs with it. 0 conference finals appearances, but he does also bring it to another level in the playoffs. And if Luka is close to that calf strain Achilles, I don't know. It's going to be a tough task for them. I'm going to say Suns maybe come out. I would not mess with the Grizzlies either. I think they have a lot of, hungry dudes on that team that want to ball. Warriors, if Steph comes back healthy, I think Warriors have a legitimate shot. They have the experience, and they look at their roster. Steph, Clay, Poole's playing at another level. You have Wiggins that should possibly play better than a Harrison Barnes did in that kind of fourth man role. Draymond's obviously gonna, bring the ball up. Holy cow, we're doing a basketball podcast. Let's talk about it.
You are.
Dude, we could do all sports if we wanted, just not wrestling. That's not a sport. That's theater.
No, I can only do football. I can only watch the Yankees, and I can't watch basketball. I have no idea what's going on.
You're a Knicks fan, man. What do you mean?
I am not a Knicks fan, and stop propagating that lie. That's it. I mean, don't even try to put me out there like that.
Sources say. Nets? What about the Nets?
No, they're not from Jersey. They're not from anywhere. They have the
best
player they have the best player in the world, and nobody cares, huh?
Is their arena closer to you than the Knicks?
Nah. I can take a 10-minute train to Madison Square Garden from Hoboken. 34th Street is a 10-15 minute ride. Brooklyn is not that far from me. I could drive there 45 minutes, but traffic would be crazy. But yeah.
All right, give me under the radar draft crush. Under the radar draft crush. Let's do it.
Matt Araiza, punter. I think that the 49ers should finally move on from Mitch Wisnowski. Get it done with the guy. If you're going to use a draft pick, make it be the guy who can punt the ball 75 yards and leave it on the 5 almost every time, man. I think I pray to the punting god. So, sun god. Yeah, there you go.
You're being serious right now.
What, no good?
You're
problem? Raise a hive, stand up. Where y'all at? Y'all just dead in the chat. Like the 49ers prioritizing special teams. It's all connecting the dots, bro. It's all connecting the dots. Ray McLeod, Burks, Odom. You draft this punter. You completely shore up this Robbie Gold's the greatest kicker of all time, my favorite player of all time. And now you get Ariza, and now boom, you lock in the special teams unit, and it's Super Bowl, baby. That was the only thing that was lacking, right? Woo!
Hey, I'm all about if this dude is the guy and he doesn't play like an Aguayo did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and he is a guy, I'm all for pinning your team inside the 10, pinning them inside the 15. I'm all for it until a Matthew Stafford goes out there with a 98-yard drive for a touchdown in an NFC Championship game. I'm all for pinning the other team for sure. Like, give yourself the advantage.
Hey,
Like,
man, it's about time. It's about time.
And so, do you think they take 2 receivers now that they're adding these guys? Like, those aren't guys that necessarily change your draft
They could
plans,
camp
right?
bodies. Right. They could be camp bodies. One of them could be a Trent Sherfield replacement. That's what I feel like Marcus Johnson is athletically, profile wise. And I think obviously the 49ers are just trying their best to find a returner. I mean, their numbers, and I think I can pull that up too. Their numbers in terms of team wise and how they're ranked is just not good in the kick game. If I could find that, I'll pull it up right now. Okay, cool. So return average 8.2 yards per punt. That's 20th in the league. Kickoff 18.9%, 28th in the league. So the 49ers right now are looking at guys that can stick around in the back end, but also giving themselves somebody who can actually return the ball. Maybe Ray does punts. They got a guy for kicks. Maybe they flip around and figure out, one of the two. They have a rotation. But that's right now what those guys feel like. They feel like back-end wide receivers that fill out rosters, but they also have a chance to stick because of the flexibility on special teams, which is something the 49ers are clearly prioritizing, right?
Absolutely, they are, and I think it's good for them. Like that, I feel like special teams gets overlooked quite a bit. It's not the flashy names out there, but when you have a legit special teams unit, it makes your offense's assignment much easier. It makes the defense's assignment much easier. And look how much of a headache it was this past season. And if you could eliminate special teams being a negative outcome on the game for yourself, then do it. I have a receiver for you. Devin Tompkins, Utah State. Have you seen any of him?
No, I haven't actually. The Utah State film isn't easily accessible. Even the big schools, it's hard. I'm trying to piece it together.
Did you tell them that you're Jason Aponte?
Oh, you just let them know? You call them up and say that so they can just be like, who?
Exactly. You would be like Jason Aponte, and then be like, "Oh, you don't have the film yet? Say less."
Really?
They get it to you.
Damn.
Yeah, I had to drop your name. I had to drop your name a couple times, to get some film.
Shut up. Here I am piecing it together, like meeting guys at alleys so they could give me like on the low. Like it feels like illegal, like to find this, like
with the jacket,
with a good trench coat. Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, like back
you
to
want the
back,
Chris
no
Olave?
one can look at each other. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, what's that? Is this Miami? All right, yeah, here. And then you give him the money like that behind him, and then that's it. He just walks away. Like it's that. It's like that trying to find it in these streets.
Sounds about right. Devin Tompkins, look him up. The dude's 5'8", but he plays like he's 6 foot. He led the nation in deep ball catches. He led the nation in deep ball yards. I believe he led the nation in receiving yards as a whole, receiving touchdowns. Like this dude was a baller last year. Yet, no combine invite. So I believe when a player plays at that level, like you literally see him at 5'8", getting contested catches up with guys, that are bigger corners than him. Like he plays at a 6 foot frame. And I think if you watch his tape and you're just like, hell, like this is going to be a day 3 guy that I would like to pair with Trey Lance. Cause frankly, it's the deep ball catches what stands out to me. Led the nation in that at a school like Utah State that isn't necessarily going to be the Alabama or Ohio State of passing game. And this guy's out there doing that. Go ahead and look him up. I think it was Bay Area Baller that put me on Devin Tompkins. I think he jumped in the chat one day and was like, yo, have you seen this guy? And I was like, no, I have no idea who he is because I don't stay up, at 10 p.m. at night to watch Utah State. Like I got other things to do. But soon as
speaking of staying up, I'm sorry.
Oh, is Viagra at?
What on earth, man? All right, just keep going. Jesus Christ.
No. Just watch him. Devin Tompkins. How fast is he? I didn't look at his pro day numbers, but the dude can fly. The dude can fly. If I had to take a guess based off tape, I would say he probably is in the low 4.4s. He's not going to be a 4.3, not going to be a 4.2 guy. It's definitely a lot quicker than being a 4.5 guy. So I would say low 4.4s.
All right, I'll check him out. I'll be honest with you. I have no knowledge of him, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do. So thank you for that.
I'm gonna flood your inbox now. I'm just
Perfect.
like, yo,
Finally.
look at this guy. Look at this guy.
Finally.
Hey,
but yeah.
I have not watched Batman yet.
Oh, it's gonna be out in a few days on HBO Max. You
Oh,
got
is it?
Yes, the 18th. And if you have a site that you usually get movies from, there's an HD copy already floating around. I watched it this morning. But
There is.
hey,
I have my Fire Stick.
if you have your Fire Stick, they got the HD one up now. Yeah,
I have my Fire Stick legally jailbroken. We'll just leave it at that. So perfect.
Maybe we should end the stream before we start snitching on each other.
Hey, do you want to like FaceTime each other and watch Batman?
No, I don't. But
No,
thanks
man.
for the idea. No, man. What the hell?
All right, yeah, I'm just gonna end it there. Every Tuesday, make sure that you guys hop on with Jason and I. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be taking the comments. So if you're on Jason's stream, make sure that you join the Spicy Squad because, like I said, I'm gonna prioritize the Spicy Squad comments here as we go, or as well as if you want to hit a super chat. Those whatever we're talking about, we drop that subject. Get to the super chat. As well as subscribe, hit your notification so you know when we're live, whether if you're on Jason's channel or my channel. Hit the notifications.
No, I don't want to.
Jason, put some pat. No, man.
No, man. The hell, I'm home.
I was trying to think of something clever to go with the podcast name and wrap it around with 49ers, but basically it's 49ers without Levi's podcast. Does that kind of?
We'll workshop that. Let's see how that
Okay.
goes. But
Okay.
shout out to everybody that's in here, man. You always see the same names in here. Appreciate you guys. Chill out. Everything's gonna be all right with Deebo. And yeah, every Tuesday, make sure you tapped in on Leo's channel as well. Like his channel, this video. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the other videos. Shoot likes on those if you guys can. It really helps us out a lot.
Talk to you soon. Go Giants, Padres, Yankees.